screens, it's a plot to drop the IQ. Fighting amongst each other over rumors that don't like you. Prefer us trapped in melancholy with the wood ones of holly. Suggestions that obliterate to camouflage the folly. Attempted mental robbery, executed sloppily. The hypocrisy, this mockery, and walk the talk with me. Put the hands up to touch the Akasha, cause you know deep down there's something bigger than your wallet.
Sweet eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful. Friends, welcome back to Rogue Ways, where tonight we are talking about the astrological influences of the moment, both from the tropical side and the true sidereal side. I am not an astrologer, but I am fascinated by astrology, and I love astrology, and I've been into it since I was very young. I just don't study it. I don't memorize it. I'm not like an astute professional, right? I'm not an astrologer. I am a spiritual healer and teacher. I'm a shamanic spiritual healer and teacher, and I like astrology, and I like to think about the influences. And it's interesting to me because I have recently been sent something from one place that I like and somewhat follow and have been taught by over the years, and then from a totally different place. And so I got these two perspectives, and they're totally different ways of looking at the astrological influences right now. It's interesting to see how they're similar. And it's also interesting to see how we are interacting with that, and then how we can sort of orient ourselves towards those energies. So that's the goal of tonight. I'm also testing out some new streaming software. I have used StreamYard in the past, but I am now using it at the paid level, and a little bit of hiccups, a little bit of bugs or something. So roll with me here as we get used to yet another streaming platform. This is, I think, my like 10th, literally probably 10th in 6 years. And it's really frustrating to change streaming platforms because everything's different, getting used to everything, changing equipment, changing streaming platforms. I mean, this happens all the time. Just say nothing of where I'm streaming to. Right now, I'm trying to stream to my very new YouTube channel. Should have an old one, should have a 6 years old one, should have many, many, many thousands of subscribers, but I've been deleted multiple times for things that other people have never gotten deleted from. I don't want them to be. I just wish it was fair and that I could have my channel back. What's really funny is a few weeks ago, I got the reply from YouTube from what I must have appealed years ago when they first deleted my first channel. I just got the reply 2 weeks ago. So they didn't even look at my appeal until then. And yeah, they're like, we came into a decision and we're not going to reinstate your channel. I'm like, thanks for telling me 2 years later, you freaks, you absolute freaks. Something wrong with those people. But as I'm trying to stream to my new YouTube channel, nope, just not working, which I seem to remember also about YouTube is that it's just a nightmare. It's just a nightmare. I don't know how anybody deals with it without wanting to die. So I am currently streaming to Rumble, to YouTube, and to Rockfin. And if you're listening to this on audio, you're just the safest of all. Oh, wait, no, you're not, because they also deleted my RSS feed last October and got rid of tens of thousands of my subscribers. Yes, and they have not yet figured out that I didn't just stop making shows. Sad times for me. I'll stop talking about it over and over again, but just so you know, that's why this stream might be a little hiccupy, and it's also time for you to go to my new YouTube channel. It's under Lindsay Sharman. It's just Lindsay Sharman on Rogueways, or Lindsay Sharman at Rogueways. You know, even if you put in exactly, that's another thing that happens to me frequently is they just don't return me in search results, no matter how you look. So good luck to you and me. And we'll just move forward over and over and over again. And if I ever can go live on YouTube, that'll be great. So let's just begin, guys. Shall we? Shall we? I love it. It's actually fall-ish here, and that's real nice. I like the fall energies. Was this or this? 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 Oh, this for a minute. We'll see. Yeah, we'll go with this. Anyway, it's nice too. I have some more things that I used to have. Like I can remind you of things like signing up for the newsletter at rogueways.org, like signing up for soul services, which we're here on rogueways.org, as you can see. And you can go to the Blazing Brightness retreat for next summer. You can book yourself in for that. You can sign up for the next Dreamwalking class. It should be in January of 2025. You can check out the books that I write. You can schedule one-on-one sessions with me, tarot, sound healing, and more. You can read the testimony of the many hundreds of people over many years who have been astounded, happy, healed, uplifted by the services they find with me. It goes on and on and on. I try to add every positive review I get, and I'll tell you, I've never gotten a negative one, except from one really extremely unwell person, and I definitely wasn't going to publish that. So that's all there for you. You can do ceremony with me as well, one-on-one in person, or rather you can apply to. If that's right for both of us, then we will arrange that. That's a fantastic way to go very deep. Many happy people with the ceremony as well. So that's all here on rogueways.org. And of course, you can see all the places Rogueways is. Some people have known me for years and will be like, what? You have a TikTok or you have a this? Yeah, I try to be on every free social media platform. Try to get any sort of focus on what I do and share it with people. So yeah, I'm on most of the things. Speaking of things, you can go to the favorite things tab and you can check out all of the good stuff that I use every day of my life. All of these links are mostly, I should say, are affiliate links. So use this actual link itself to go to these places and you can get doTERRA, you can get LMNT, you can get Dr. Morse, you can get Honey Colony, True Sidereal Astrology reports, you can get Organic Hemp Society and AquaCure Hydrogen Therapy. Just remember when going to AquaCure to use the Rogueways coupon code so that I get an affiliate boost and you get a huge discount. And try it out at any of these places. Many of them have Rogueways coupon codes and discounts. So check all of that stuff out on the favorite things tab. Also, rogueways.substack.com. This is where the channeled messages are. That's the good stuff. That's the pure channel straight up to much higher intelligences than our own. This is the amazing, beautiful writings and channeled messages that come through them. When you sign up for the paid subscription, then you get access to all of those channel messages. When you do the free subscription, you get some channel messages and some other free articles. And all of that is there. So whether you want to support what I do and you love what you see and you want me to continue, so you come to Substack to be a subscriber, or whether you want those channeled messages and so you become a paid subscriber, fantastic either way. Or if you just want to keep in touch and be on a free subscription, I still love to have you there. rogueways.substack.com. One thing that is changing, it's a big change. Every other Tuesday, I do the Lightning Oracle round. Most of you who come will tip, or you'll send a Venmo, a Cash App, or something else. You'll donate in some way, cryptocurrency or otherwise. And so, you know, you are sharing so that when I share this message with you, we have some equal exchange going on. I love doing that. I am just shifting away from using Rockfin. I'm going to do a different platform. I'll be announcing that as soon as that's really set up and strong. I'll be inviting you there. It's free for you to go there and to still see everything I do is still free. But Lightning Oracle round, I want to keep for people who are supporting me. And so that's what it's always been. And that's what it's going to be. And so instead of just showing up to a live stream and tipping, you'll just book every other Tuesday. I should say every first, third, and fifth Tuesday. If there is a fifth Tuesday, you'll just book it here. And so I'm just asking $10. That was the guidance I got to receive from each person. And then it's a little bit more intimate as well. It's not out there for the whole world to see. You will actually be present. You don't have to show your face or anything, but if you want to at least talk and reflect on the question or say thank you, or you don't have to talk either. You can still just chat just like you normally do, put your request in, receive it, and get out of there. Or you can have your camera and audio on and be talking too. So it's a little bit more intimate. You get a little bit more out of it. And I just think it's going to be so much better. So I would love to receive your guys' support and to share these gifts with you in this way. The next normal one would be this coming 29th of October. And so if you want to already, you can just go ahead and already sign up and book for that. I'll be sharing that again. I'll be sharing it in the comments. And I also hope to go live that day right before the event to remind everyone that this is the new way that we're doing it. And so I hope to see you all there. That is the Lightning Oracle round, just shifting a little bit to a live Zoom instead of a live stream. And that is going to be so good. I just have this feeling about it so much better. So it's already fantastic. It's already such high level. It's already like a single narrative emerges. Like we're dealing with totally different things, but it's interesting how similar sort of themes come out, and we kind of come back to the same ideas, which are different every time, but it always sort of weaves an interesting narrative. And of course, that's the power of the group as well, right? When you can be present with a group and be receiving, when you're in a spiritual field with a group, and when everyone there has that intention to be connecting with their higher level self, with their guides, with their spiritual guides, with their spiritual allies, and that energy is coming through, it just is healing. It just is blessing. So it's not specifically a blessing. It's not specifically a healing, but that energy is still there. And it's still really uplifting. So super affordable way to tap into a field like that. And I'm really excited to provide that for people. So I hope to see you there every first, third, and fifth Tuesday. And that's at calendly.com/rogueways, just like all of my services are. So if you're going through rogueways.org and you're clicking on schedule a session, you'll see it there as well. Or you can just go to calendly.com/rogueways and just choose any of these services, the past life tarot reading, coaching and talk session, etc. It's so great. I'm excited for the way things are shifting. I think it's going to be easier for me. I think other people are going to get more out of it. It's going to be great. So here is the email I got just not too long ago, 3 days ago. This is from Glorian. I share from Glorian often. I appreciate their teachings. I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% for or against their final conclusions about how to use sexual energy. And otherwise, they're really exceptional, just archive of knowledge. And if you ever wanted to know like what secret societies think or do, or like this is the place to go to find out all of it for free. And their whole goal is to help anyone understand anything that is supposedly esoteric or occulted and bring it into the light and make it not occulted anymore, so that you do understand and know whether you're going there to look at that because you hate all that stuff and you want to criticize it, or you're going there because you love it and you want to know more about it. It's still just free for you. And it's fantastic. So I love them. I love their mission. That's glorian.org, glorian.org. They're Gnostics. And in my opinion, they are true Gnostics because they're not dogmatic about ancient and I think skewed interpretations of where we are and who we are and what we are in this place. They're very much Rogue Waysian in that they would invite you over and over again to look inside first, to go inside and to know yourself. And by knowing yourself, know where you are and who you are. This is also the same as everything I teach, everything I've been taught by my own spiritual guides and allies over the years. And it's also not that this show is about Rosicrucianism, but it's also what I like about Rosicrucians and why I ended up being a Rosicrucian. It's not that anything in either of these traditions or organizations or whatever you want to call them is in itself new to me. It's that I look at it and say, oh, finally, somebody gets it. Somebody outside of myself is reflecting the things I've already discovered inside of myself. Glorian much so has more, again, arcane, occulted, esoteric specific. So I'm not saying I like know everything of their specific Gnostic tradition, but the overarching concepts and ideas I could say the same about. So for both, I really find them both valuable if you are into learning and you want free learning. Both are great resources. Again, you don't have to be a Rosicrucian to go to the Rosicrucian website and download hundreds of old, ancient even books for free. And Glorian is no different. Glorian.org and the Gnostics are no different. So there's a million types of Gnostics, and most of them are stupid. And this one's great. So there you go. Oh, I love it. My comments are actually showing up on my streaming preview. I love it. It's so great. An artist Co is saying I canceled my Rockfin subscription. Yeah, I think a lot of people are moving away from it, and that's also why I am hoping to move away too. More and more, at least. Rockfin is there. Sorry, Day Zero is going to be there, and the winning report I'm going to do there. So I'm still going to have content there. If you ever don't find me somewhere, and check back with Rockfin. But my ideal would be to move a little bit more towards some other places. So anyways, back to this email I got from glorianne.org. They say, hi, Lindsay, the influence of Scorpio begins on October 24th. So we have 3 days as of this live stream before this officially begins. We would be in the cusp of it right now, right? The edges of it. We're already starting to feel it. But it's not here proper for another 3 days. Scorpio, they say, is ruled by Mars, the planet of war. And I'll just pause there because Mars is often considered the planet of war. And some people may say, that's a fact. That is what it is. But Mars is much more than just that. And I think that's an oversimplification. I think they would say that too. This is just a short email, so they're just pointing this out. Scorpio, they say, vigorously stimulates our defects of anger, hatred, and vengeance, and our sexual power too. So they're not saying the sexual power is a negative. In fact, what they would say is it's either negative or positive depending on how you personally use it, but it's powerful at least. In fact, it might be one of the most powerful energies you have access to, which was what I've said again and again as well. They say we are already suffering multiple wars and accelerating sexual degeneration. The next few weeks will intensify them. And they say right in the middle of Scorpio, there will be an election that will affect the whole world. No matter the outcome, there will be a lot of angry people seeking vengeance. It's true, right? I mean, no matter who wins, there's going to be a ton of people who are really, really upset. I will say this. I actually don't think if Kamala wins, there'll be a lot of angry people seeking vengeance. There may be a lot of angry people seeking a recount, because I think we all know that she doesn't actually have more votes, period, in maybe even any state, but especially not overall and especially not electorally, if things are fair. But I also think on the right, we've seen again and again, there isn't really a vengeance. There really isn't a violence. There isn't. There's the anger, right? And it's somewhat righteous because they're like, we know you stole this or whatever. And so I don't know for sure that there'll be anger and vengeance, but perhaps since it's in this period of time, perhaps if there's Scorpio and Mars influences at this time, that will highlight some of that. Maybe it'll call people to their base and lesser selves, and perhaps they will act in those ways a little bit more likely. But we know for sure that the left is very much more likely to do that. So if the election is fair and Donald Trump does win, which again, whoever doesn't know me won't understand this comment, but I hope so much that happens. Like, and part of me is perhaps a little vengeful in hoping that happens, because I kind of can't wait to see people who are just broken and shattered by their programming just break down and shatter even more. I mean, in those moments, you have to either like come to Jesus and get right with yourself, or just descend further into the madness you've created for yourself. So I hope he does. It'll be perfect. But we'll see. But when he wins, the leftists will lose it. And they've shown before how violent they are willing to be, over and over again, in fact. And they say it all the time. And they talk about it. They're like, let's do a, activity against hate. Let's be against hate. And at the activity against hate, the event that is against hate, let's have a severed Donald Trump head that people can kick around on a fake soccer field. because that somehow makes sense to us. These people aren't well. They're violent, they're forceful, they tend to be narcissistic in cluster B and codependent, and all of those things highly lend themselves to vengeance, anger, and violence. So if these influences are strong right now, Scorpio and Mars, if our lower defects of anger, hatred, vengeance, especially if a misused sexual energy, which we have seen heightened over these past handful of years, like especially in COVID, they were like, wear a mask and don't touch people, but do go out and have casual sex and lick people's buttholes. like lick the anus of random people you meet, but wear masks and don't touch. Again, there's no sense here. There's no cohesion here. This is Anthony Fauci telling people, right? We saw this. We saw the rise of more trans, more gay, more lesbian, more also furries, and more open pedophilia. Those are also all just trends over time in general. But something about being told to lock down and feeling all that fear seemed to heighten it a bit more. So again, when we fall into any of our defects, all of our defects become possibly more highlighted. And again, when sexual energy is misused, it's very potent. So if you already fall into some sexual degeneracy, it can be really hard to pull yourself back out. And what is really easy when you've fallen into sexual degeneracy is to continue to justify all of your poorest behaviors, right? It's a cope. It's a cope when you fall that low. So we'll see, right? So we've got all of that sort of heightening and coming up, and then these astrological energies. So they say, again, in the email, it's essential during the next few weeks that we not become identified with the chaos and insanity in the world. And pause, you know that I am always saying this too. Like, we could have the whole world falling apart around us, and we still don't have to go insane. We could have bombs literally dropping around us in the city, and we still might have abundance, money, fruitful energy. You do not have to let the world tear you apart. This is the whole point of always looking inside first. And this is not the same as pretending you don't feel a thing. That would be ridiculous. But to know you have that power, to practice it more and more, to say, yeah, that person's freaking out, but I'm not. That's your power. That's your empowerment. That's, no matter which astrological point of view we're going to go with tonight, no matter what happens the next few weeks, that's just good practice. Back to the email. Instead, they say, as aspirants to peace and chastity, we should strengthen our serenity and chastity through effective meditation and transmutation. So they also have a link here. It says, learn how to actually meditate, which is great. If you want to learn any kind of meditation skills, they all reinforce one another. And that'd be fantastic. And when they say transmutation, they are talking about sexual energy. And when they say chastity, they are talking very specifically in this tradition about not ejaculating, not having the explosion and the waste of orgasm, but instead retaining that energy within yourself and using it to empower your own spiritual advancement. So that's what they mean by transmutation, and that's what they mean by chastity. And so they'll also teach you that. So in fact, almost everything they do comes back to that, and that is a form of white tantra. So they said, do you want to reduce the madness of the world? Start by reducing it in yourself. May the light of Christ guide you. And again, like many esoteric traditions, Christ and Jesus are not seen as the same as they are by traditionalists or fundamentalists or other Christians, right? They would consider themselves Christians. I consider myself Christian. A lot of Christians would say that I'm demonic and horrible and should go to hell. So, but the light of Christ is an eternal and infinite and ever-present form of consciousness that any person can access or embody at any point in time. And people do from time to time, and then we remember them for thousands of years. So that's what they say is coming up. So let's look at their energy around Scorpio. They have this Scorpio, beautiful astrological view of the stars that make up the Scorpio constellation. So October 24th to November 22nd is the traditional, again, this is the tropical, which is to say the sort of normal astrology that most people know, tropical astrology. So, whatever you've like found most often in your life, like this is it. Very rare that you would find something else. There are many other kinds, including Vedic, including Sidereal, and including true Sidereal. Those are different. Those are 4 different types of astrology, different schools of thought around astrology. The newest being true Sidereal, the oldest being Vedic. So Scorpio has to do with the sexual organs. If you look at the human body as it goes around the circle of the constellations of the zodiac, you've seen that head to toe sort of circle. That's what that actually is. If you're a psychotic Satanist, you cut the head off of that, you make it a statue, and you put it in what are the brothers' names? Man, I'm glad I don't remember this. Sick people. Anyway, and where the sexual organs would be on the circle is where Scorpio is. So this is sort of how you can see where the signs line up with the body, on which areas are where. So Scorpio is the sexual organs, which also means in this tradition, it's one of the most important signs, Scorpio. And just like Scorpio energy in general, Scorpios can be this incredibly active, fiery, social, like really intelligent, right? All this like really positive energy, which is the same with an awakened spiritual channel, no matter your sign, right? All those positive influences. Or they can take this barbed tail and they can pierce you with it, possibly killing you. They can cut deep and hard and fast and be incredibly destructive. And this tradition would say that is also true of your sexual energy. It can lift you up to the heights of your being, the highest levels of yourself, the highest levels of your consciousness and your abilities, physical, mental, emotional, all of them, spiritual. Or it can ruin you, destroy you, and utterly drain you. So the sexual organs of Scorpio fit together well. And they talk about their metal. The metal is magnet. That's like an interesting metal, attractive, like a Scorpio often is. Topaz is the stone. Coral is the perfume. The oak tree is their plant. Chrysanthemum is their flower. Their planet is Mars, of course, as it was talked about in that email. Red is the color. Water is the element. The keyword is action. The day is Tuesday. And their ruler is Samael. And I've done a whole episode on Samael before, and you can go back and check that out. Perhaps confusingly, this specific tradition of Gnosticism, one of the things I don't align with them on is they have an almost sort of worship of this Samael Ion Weor person. And I just ignore all of that. It doesn't matter to me. The rest of their content is pretty great. But it talks about this. So this is interesting. So according to them, all of these energies, the Scorpio, the Mars, the election, all of this tension, a possible just upheaval, anger, vengeance might be coming up for people, might be coming up collectively. We have a lot of fronts to the war in this world that we've talked about so much on the show, especially in the winning reports. We've got the Ukraine-Russia, we've got the China-Taiwan, we've got the US-Mexico, not as a country, but as just like the border being porous. And we've got a lot of conflict in Africa that goes uncovered mostly. And then we've got Israel and Palestine now, Israel, Palestine, Iran, right? Lebanon, and everywhere else in the Middle East, basically. So Israel versus the world. And all of those are kind of at like a possible flashpoint. Let's remember too, the less we give that the energy of fear or anger or worry or hatred, the less turbulent it actually is. Your consciousness is key. Your emotions are key. And if they weren't, they would never bother to tell you about any of it. They would never put it on the news. They would never draw your attention to it again and again and again and make you fearful and sad and angry and upset if they didn't need that energy to pull it off. And if you don't want to look at it as someone pulling your energy and using it, you could still just look at it as, I am creating my reality. Why would I create that? And this is not the same as ignoring reality. If a war was right in front of you and at your door, it'd be different. You would have to deal with it. When it's around the world and you literally can't do anything, the reason that you are being attacked with constant imagery and sound and emotion is so that they can suck that energy out, or so that they can use it to create reality in the way that serves them. Either way, however you look at it, you're creating that by adding negative energy to it. So don't. In fact, if you think about it, think about peace coming to those areas. Don't care about how, just think about peace coming to those areas. This is a meditation I do daily, is I send peace, love, harmony to the whole world, then to specific countries, then to specific world leaders, to specific people in my life, and to all people on the earth, one by one. Not all people, but each of those categories, one by one, right? And you can do that too. You can just make it up as you go, or you can follow specific tactics, or you can book a session with me and I'm happy to teach you any of it. That's how you make peace on the world. So their first line here is key. Then they say, those who enter into the difficult path of liberation from the cause of suffering need help from divinity. And anytime I'm doing anything, any meditation for myself, any service for you guys, any lightning oracle round on first, third, and fifth Tuesdays now on Calendly for you to book and come join the Zoom session instead of streamed. Anytime I'm doing a one-on-one session with people, anytime I'm doing one day of brightness events, anything I do, I first go deeply within and connect to the highest places that I have contact with. I call in all my spiritual guides and allies, call in all of my ancestors every time, because we need so much help to do this work within ourselves. Right. And my primary ask is that anything base or mundane within me be left out of this, and that the highest aspects of myself join in with the highest aspects of the rest of the universe in order to create these good, true, and beautiful outcomes. You can do that any way you want. You don't have to use the words I use. It's the idea, right? It's your intention. So do that, right? Very soon, I'm working with Ellie. Oh, how do I forget Ellie's last name? My God. Sorry, Ellie. Or with Ellie, who I've worked with before to do the Violet Flame event, and it's free to everyone. And we're going to do another one soon. And last time we had a fantastic outcome, and this time we will too. So it's up to you and I to make peace on Earth. And that's what we're doing. We're doing it first within ourselves, and then we're also envisioning it for everything around us every time we think about any of these things. Or we're not, and therefore we're serving the dark, whether you like it or not. They go on to say, the compassion of the divine sends us into the deserving, unto the deserving, the fierce intelligence that wages war against the selfish, impure, lustful elements that are within us. And those, by the way, are within everyone. And this is what's actually meant by we're all sinners. It's not like there's something within you that you have to beg for forgiveness for. It's that there's something within you that isn't perfect still. You haven't purified it yet. No one's shaming you for it. It's just a question of like, do you want to keep doing that? And if you don't, right? If you do, go for it. No one's stopping you. And if you don't, if you're sick of that, or you want some higher outcomes in your life, then you purify. You don't do it out of shame or guilt. And the people who ask you to do it out of shame or guilt, like, they're still healing their shame and guilt. They don't know better. But we're not dirty, dark, disgusting things that need to beg something to help us. We are beautiful lights that are purifying that light and asking for help from those who already have. It says, among the many religions, the great warrior god has many names: Ares, Mars, Kartikeya, etc. But we prefer to use his Hebrew name, Samael. So now they're talking about the specific god of Mars, or of war. Remember, too, that war isn't in itself evil. War in itself is neutral. War can be what happens when you war against your lowest aspects. That's actually the original and overall meaning of jihad, is an internal war on your lowest aspects. For example, if you are at the moment like me and your war on yourself is to stop judging people, That's hard for me to do. Um, then you call on Samael and other warriors to help you battle that lowest impulse and call yourself back every time you have the urge to judge to your highest self, which still identifies but does not judge, right? So war isn't always bad. War is in fact neutral. What we mean when we're anti-war is that we're anti-corporations and banks killing humans for profit, right? That's what we mean. In that sense, war, yeah, it's always bad. But at the highest level of the actual idea, war is not bad, neutral. So we call on a warrior energy, or in this case, a warrior god or a warrior angel, which is what Samael actually is. And we ask for help in warring. Again, within ourselves, against our lowest instincts, in order to serve ourselves and the world at a higher level. It says the angel Samael is one of the 7 angels who rule our planetary system, being connected with Mars. There's also Gabriel with the moon, Raphael with Mercury, Uriel with Venus, Michael with the sun, Zachariel with Jupiter, and Oriphiel for Saturn. Every planet. I don't know what's going on with Neptune, Uranus, Pluto. Those aren't counted. These are the 7 innermost, I guess. So Samael you can call on for this Mars energy in order to keep yourself more pure. You can also meditate. You can meddle with yourself and meditate and invite. You don't have to go inviting Samael or any angel or any energy anywhere near you. If you have developed trust for that and you like it, you can. You can also just call on God. You can just call on your highest self. You can just call on your heart, right? Those are all pure energies to assist you. You can trust some of them more than others, perhaps. You can do whatever feels good for you. You can call on nothing and still just do that meditation that I talked about, right? So they go into deeper aspects of different practices you can do and calling on Samael or working with Samael or working with your sexual energy in that way that I talked about, that is the sort of white tantric way. And you can come look at this if you're into it. This is at glorianne.org, and you would just look for Scorpio, and you would find all of this information here. So just to say, right, this is the energy from the tropical, regular sort of astrology point of view over the next few weeks, and the energies that might be potent and the failings you might be called to and how to perhaps combat some of those. So I, just being on the cusp, already like deeply into purifying these energies. Hatred being first and foremost for me. I had a really powerful purification around hatred, and I would have told you I didn't have any hatred in me, but I found some. I found it, and I was deep, and I was feeling the hate. And when this happens for any of us, when we're purifying something, when we're revisiting old traumas, when we're revisiting old wounds, when we're healing old energies that got stuck and weren't healed in the moment, you experience them again. A lot lighter, I'll say, or a lot shorter maybe than the time period. The time period where I felt intense hatred deeply was a couple years of my adolescent life. My father had just died. I hated everyone. I hated God. In fact, I said, God doesn't exist, and if he does, I hate him. And I meant it. I hated all my teachers. I hated every single human I laid eyes on. I hated everyone. Hated. It wasn't just like a thing I said, like I felt it. I wanted them all to die. I hated. I didn't care if the world survived. Maybe it was a bit dramatic, but it was pretty intense. And I really revisited that. It also, I'll say, again, that's what I mean by lighter and shorter, is like this lasted a night, right? That I went deep into that and felt it again. And I did not know how to even deal with it. I deal with a lot on the spiritual level, really intense energies. But when it's coming from your own self, it's a little bit different because it really is yours. It's a lot stronger of a feeling than just feeling it empathically from another person. or receiving a message about it and sort of just like touching it lightly, it's a lot deeper when it's you. And so, so I did ask for help in the middle of it. I was like, please, God, all my spiritual guides, help me transform this hatred and help me release it. Interesting. And then it did, and then it's gone. And anytime we go through the sort of dark night of the soul, or the darkness itself, or the purification, or the negativity, every time we do it successfully, we come out the other side better than ever. And now I know that hatred's gone. That hatred's gone. So this is also the power of times like this, right? This Scorpio Mars energy, again, it's neutral. It's not here to make war, to make anger, to make hatred, or like be against you. It's here to call out your defects and say, here they are, see them, and now deal with them. Because it is better for you to have healed it and released it than it is to hold on to it still. Who knows where in my body is going to receive this physical healing? Who knows what in my mind will be able to release? Who knows what other layers of self also get to heal, because I was able to heal that old, sad Lindsay hatred. Very sad Lindsay. Poor little Lindsay. So that was actually beautiful. It was not fun. It was not easy. It was beautiful. And this is the best thing we can do. And it's the most courage we can muster. It's some of the hardest work we can do when big, huge, negative emotions come out. Stop. Go into yourself. Let it be exactly what it is. And call on whatever help. Again, if Samael, the ruler of Mars, is the guy for you in those moments, let it be so. Any ally is great. So that's what we can do for all this energy. If that's coming up for you, if over the next few weeks it starts to come up for you, if you find it peaked in people around you, then go into it and sit with it, let it be true, and then ask for help to release it, right? Imagine it being released and ask for help to release it. That's how you do it. That's how we do. So let's look at a totally different view of this energy. And this is the true sidereal energy. And this is from Athen Commenti. Again, if you're on rogueways.org and you go to the favorite things tab, one of those is True Sidereal Astrology with Athen Commenti, and you can get a discount with the Rogueways coupon code. And you can also sign up for his newsletters like this for free. You can be a part of Mastering the Zodiac Insiders like I am. And you can use that link from my page in order to give me a little affiliate boost. So he has a little bit different take, because true sidereal astrology is a little bit different coming up. Here we have Mercury and Mars shifting. He says this week brings the entry of Mercury into Libra and Mars into Cancer, marking a shift in the way we connect and take action. These aren't actually different, because that last email was just saying we are going into Scorpio season. Actually, I don't know if that's true in true sidereal, if we are in. Because all the signs are shifted a little bit. They're in their actual place in the sky, and they're not equal sections even. Some are really small, like Ophiuchus is tiny, and some are huge. Anyways, we'll move on. So either way, both of these seem true to me, and now I've just landed on perhaps why that might be so. So he says, this week brings the entry of Mercury into Libra and Mars into Cancer, marking a shift in the way we connect and take action. These two planetary movements happening in the early days of the week set the tone for both communication and emotional energy. Mercury, the planet associated with thought, communication, and exchange, transitions into Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus, known for its association with balance, partnership, and beauty. Mercury's move into this sign brings an emphasis on diplomacy and fairness in all forms of communication. So I'll just pause there and say that's a really different energy than aggression, anger, right? Freaking out. So we have this potential, again, to shift into this other way of looking at things, or this maybe even higher level of ourselves, and say, okay, sure, maybe some of those energies are old, and maybe some of that old stuff is shifting and healing, but also perhaps there's an emphasis on diplomacy right now. Perhaps there's an emphasis on fairness right now. Perhaps even if people have some failings and fall a little bit into their lowest selves of anger and vengeance and whatnot, perhaps diplomacy and fairness will actually win the day because there are more people moving that direction in themselves. And it is also indicated in the astrology. He says, expect an increased focus on harmonious interactions, where seeking common ground becomes a natural instinct. Conversations flow more smoothly, and you may find yourself drawn to resolving conflicts through cooperation rather than confrontation. Are those two different things? I'm like genuinely not, that's not how I see the world at all. I am cooperating with you when I confront you, and you are cooperating with me when you confront me. But anyways, I get what he means. Cooperation rather than like fiery accusation or anger, etc. So this is a very different energy, actually. And maybe it's a really good balance point, right? Maybe enough people, again, are sort of tapping into this harmonious and that it's a natural now to move past anger and judgment and all of this and into more harmonious. And again, I really challenge you to not be the bitter, black-pilled, negative, pessimistic person, right? Don't just go, oh, yeah, sure, everybody's going to be great. Everything's going to be fine. Yeah, all these assholes out here, all of these Satanists, all of this. Stop it. Stop it. You're the asshole now, right? Like you are just promoting something you don't even like, allegedly. Stop it. Look instead at all of the things that are actually the other way. And remember that more than half of your perception of the world is constructed for you on purpose. So you have to work even harder to find the truth, which is the whole point of why I do the winning report. So we remember there are actually a ton of good things happening on every single front that we see bad things happening. And the overall progress of the world consciousness is up and up and up in all areas. And that's true. You just have to work to see it. And so you might have to work to remind yourself that it's true. Your instinct might be that sort of Mars, Scorpio, fall into the negativity instead of working to retain your energy and focus it in the place where it actually belongs, right? That might be your jihad. He says, expect an increased focus on harmonious interactions where seeking common ground becomes a natural instinct. I already said that. He says, this is a great time to focus on collaborative efforts, whether in personal relationships or professional partnerships. Libra's influence encourages an openness to the perspectives of others, and Mercury amplifies this by enabling clear, rational discussion. This week could be ideal for negotiations, artistic collaborations, or even just sharing ideas with friends. Libra's love for aesthetics might also inspire creativity in your surroundings, encouraging you to express yourself through design, beauty, and harmony. So you might just naturally be drawn to communicating with people, negotiating, being artistic, collaborating. That stuff might just be open and flowing and sort of natural. He says, while Mercury in Libra brings clarity and connection, Mars moves into Cancer, shifting the energy around action and motivation. Mars, often associated with drive and assertiveness, finds a different kind of expression in Cancer, a sign known for its deep emotional currents and focus on home, family, and personal security. So again, here's this other shift, right? Is a little bit different. Instead of this outward anger, vengeance, like let's go burn everything down energy, Mars in Cancer is a much more, hey, let's hunker in, let's take care of ourselves, let's focus on what we need. And that's exactly the same as looking inside first, right? You're taking care of here now instead of being focused on what's out there and what's going on out there. And again, if that's not your natural in response, especially to political or world events, perhaps you can make that intentionally your shift, your jihad. He said, this shift brings a protective quality to the actions we take. There's an emphasis on nurturing those we care about, and Mars in Cancer can stir a desire to defend and secure our emotional foundation. So remember, that will also be the place to look If you are focusing within, if you are focusing on what's around you, you might need to pause a bit before you just react to defense. Maybe you don't need to. Maybe you do. Well, then do it. But don't do it out of thoughtlessness. Don't do it as an automatic reaction. Do it because it's a choice you make and it makes sense. Which I think is what he's about to say. He says, rather than rushing forward with force, Mars in Cancer invites a more reflective approach. This is a time to pay attention to emotional needs, take actions that support well-being and stability. There's a focus on creating a safe environment, both for yourself and for those close to you. Whether it's through spending time at home, connecting with loved ones, or taking steps to strengthen your emotional resilience, Mars in Cancer encourages a softer yet equally effective form of motivation. At these two planetary energies unfold, they create a balance between intellect and emotion. Mercury in Libra invites you to think and speak with fairness and balance, while Mars in Cancer reminds you to act from a place of emotional understanding. Together, these movements suggest a week where thoughtful connection and caring action take center stage, encouraging growth and harmony both within and around you. So also coming up, Sun is squaring Pluto. A continued transformation, he says, we've been experiencing the past few weeks. The Sun, representing identity and purpose, faces off against Pluto, associated with power, control, and deep change. This can bring hidden tensions to the surface, especially with the internal struggles. So this is an internal thing. You may feel challenged to confront areas of your life where you feel powerless or resistant to change. He says, while uncomfortable, this aspect encourages personal growth by facing those challenges head on. Hey, we were just talking about that. The energy is transformative, offering a chance to shed old habits and emerge stronger and more in tune with your inner strength. Also, Mars is sextiling Uranus. Mars sextile Uranus sparks a week of potential excitement and innovation. Mars, the planet of action, aligns with Uranus, the planet of surprise, creating an ideal moment for taking bold, unexpected steps. This aspect encourages breaking free from routine, allowing for spontaneous and creative solutions. Trust your instincts and take risks. You can have sudden insights and the drive to act on them. Whether in personal projects or everyday life, it's an opportunity to embrace change and explore new possibilities with confidence. Brings bold, spontaneous energy. All right, and he also does these as a video horoscope, and he shows you the true sidereal placements in the sky, and that's always fun too, so you can check him out elsewhere. That's Athen Comenti. So again, there's all kinds of things going on. There's all kinds of takes on it. What's really important is that you sit with yourself and you see where you're at, and you also see what you want to do about it, right? And that answer might be nothing, right? Or it might be to get darker and worse, or it might be to get better and lighter. It's always going to be up to you. And that is just the truth. So always be reflecting on those things. Some people really attached to tropical astrology. Some people are really attached to Vedic astrology. Some people are really attached to sidereal astrology. Some people are really attached to true sidereal astrology. I think anything that calls to you is important for some reason. And so you should do whatever makes sense to you. And hopefully we can all be less judgmental about whatever everyone else is doing for them. That's part of this energy and the shift and this upcoming time as well. And so we'll take it. I want to also just remind y'all of the things you should do. You should always go to get your soul services and your healing at rogueways.org. That's where you get your tarot. That's where you get your sound healing. That's where you get your coaching and talk sessions with me. At rogueways.substack.com is where the channeled messages are. If you subscribe to that, then you just get them sent to you and you get the full channeled message anytime they come out. That's at rogueways.substack.com. And Lightning Oracle Tuesdays are now Calendly. You're going to book them. Go do it right now for the next week's one. Tomorrow we wouldn't have one anyways, but next Tuesday we will. And so you can sign up. You can sign up, in fact, for every Tuesday for the rest of time, as far as I know. So definitely go right now to calendly.com/rogueways and get yourself a spot at the Lightning Oracle Tuesday so you can continue to get your messages and your questions answered there. I can't wait to be doing it that way with you guys. It's going to be so fun. It's also going to be so much better. You're going to get so much more out of it. And that makes me happy. That is how it should be. We should all be getting everything we need as much as possible. And YouTube still hasn't allowed. Sometimes it just takes time for the stream to like kick in and for you to be able to click go live. Like, no, this whole hour or so it's been doing nothing. So so yeah, and also, you know, I'm here for you as well. So you're calling in your angels, you're calling in your saints, your Buddhas, your whatever you work with. I'm one of those people who you can call in to assist you with whatever it is that you're facing, whatever you're going through, whatever you need some upliftment, some blessing around, whatever you need messages channeled through from your spiritual guides and allies around. That's the whole point, right? So remember that's what I'm here for. Go check it out. And thank you for being here and for being you, especially during this critical time on Earth, and especially over the next month or so. It's really, really, I'm calling you to remember your highest self, to jihad against the lowest aspects of yourself, and to do your best to hold those highest energies through this time. It's crucial right now. And when that violet flame event is ready, hopefully within the next few weeks, then I will definitely be inviting you to that as well. That will be free, and I will hope to see you there so that we can all work together for the benefit of all of humanity. And until then, travel well, aim for balance, and always look inside first.
Grab any pencil, give it potential. I'm heaven essential, get existential. I don't flip-flop, I hip-hop, and eventually you'll come to see the master of the sentence I've come to be. Come to Beavis, come to Butthead. I want to make the streets flood, the blood red. I'm the sickest, I'm the wickedest. I'm the one you call when you need to flip this, rip this place down to the fucking studs. Blast so bright among all these fucking duds. They sit back thinking that they can rock with me. You like a rookie cause you rock so sloppily, and what you think you got ain't so hot to me. So take it back to the lab for a lobotomy, bitch. What you think you got? You ain't Biggie, you ain't Tupac. Too many MCs on the street right now. Some of them can't take the heat right now. Some of them don't know what hip-hop's about. Aboard your ship and turn it on now.
I'm guessing that's the bad guy?
I'll bust you up with my arms crossed, projecting omega beams. You can wield the meta piece, smoke it faster than bodega weed. Keep dropping the dang shit, we blow the loudest. Dangerous as West Bank housing. Yeah, I'm bloody arrogant, cause I've been tearing shit before rappers mumbled and flaunted their merriment. Virulent resident pointed out embarrassments. When it comes to the masters, I'm pale in comparison. Enough about my tone, call me Yeti or unknown. Using my government can slug us to the fucking dome. Style remains lethal, without a reboot or a sequel. You're in our cathedral where nothing is peaceful. Weasels get skinned and hanged up as trophies. I'm one ugly motherfucker when I go full re-roll these cadavers in a rug and dispose of them. Won't see us closing in, watch me explode a sim. Bring this red shirt back to his maker. Leave this dread work to those with the flavor. They ain't feeling what this culture is all about. Aboard your ship and burn